Boots going to the 154-pound division?
Welcome to 2 Cents Boxing, where we talk everything boxing. Make sure to punch that like and subscribe button. Seriously, hit it like it owes you money. Want to go the extra mile? Drop a super chat or donate to the Cash App, because who doesn't love supporting quality content? Catch me live every Friday at 6:30 p.m. and Sunday at 5 p.m. See you there.
Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Jay, and this is our 2 cents, where we talk everything boxing, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. In today's video, we will be discussing what Eddie Hearn said in this interview about Boots going to the 154-pound division. But before we do that, make sure you punch that like and subscribe button, and make sure you let me know and drop it below your 2 cents as I go throughout the video. Or you could always call in at 281-845-2103 and leave me your 2 cents. So Eddie Hearn recently came out in an interview that I was watching, and he basically said that Jaron Boots Ennis didn't take the Tio fight because he's moving up. But we're gonna go through the interview, and I'm gonna give my 2 cents about it, my live reaction, whatever you want to call it. And I want y'all to let me know and drop it below your 2 cents about what you think Eddie Hearn is saying.
Was rumored, didn't happen that way. Last time I asked you, it was,
Looking forward to a big statement from him.
Gotcha. Just switching topics a little bit, T.O. Boots, it was a thing, it was rumored, didn't happen that way. Last time I asked you, it was probably in England, and you had told me at that time negotiations weren't even starting yet. Seems like it moved along, but it didn't work out. T.O. says Boots didn't accept. Can you clarify some of that for us?
Just Boots is moving up. I mean, that's, unfortunately, after the Stanionis fight, he had his, team around him, the doctors, the tests, and what they're basically saying is Boots is underperforming to his capabilities. You saw him on Fight Week. Like, it doesn't take a genius to see that it's hard work, right? And the amazing thing is he did that to Stanionis at 50% of his physical capabilities. And what he's saying is, and his team are saying, sooner or later, I'm not saying you're going to get a Keyshawn moment, but you could either underperform in the ring, have a nightmare weight cut, and it's just going to catch up with you. So it wasn't necessary.
Now, I want to say I absolutely feel what Eddie Hearn is saying, right? And he's probably right. Boots is having struggles making the weight, and that's pretty known, I feel like. And part of me feels like clearly if T.O. was so willing to fight him, he probably was very well aware of that, even though I still think 50% Jaron Boots Ennis beats T.O. But that's what I was telling people. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to be, if it ain't for a championship belt title, which is what he said he wanted, or something along those lines, like if he got to fight a mandatory to keep his belt or whatever the case may be, he doesn't need to waste a weight cut. And so we've seen this happen before with Earl the True Spence Jr., who stayed at a weight class so long chasing belts that it all eventually caught up to him. And this is what Eddie Hearn is saying right now is going on with Boots. Now, he said something later in the interview, and I'm gonna point it out when he says it. But my thing is, if this is going on with Boots, why are you saying this publicly about your fighter? The doctor said, and this person said, and basically he's like, why are you saying that to me? I wouldn't be saying that publicly about my fighter, and you'll see why I said that.
I loved the T.O. fight, and so did Boots. But it was like, can I perform to the best of my abilities at 147? And the answer is, I can probably perform good enough to win, but not to the best of my abilities. So when you see Keyshawn, Boots at 154, you will see what I'm talking about. So it's very likely that those belts will become vacated. We're going to meet this week and make a final decision. But it's time to move to 54. And he's been unified at 47. Now it's time to try and become a 2-division world champion.
Gotcha. So moving.
So they haven't even made a final decision of if he's actually going to 154 pounds yet, Eddie. So why are you putting all this information out about the doctor saying that he's underperforming and he's 50% out to the public when he hasn't even made the final decision. So I've been feeling like, Eddie has kind of been trying to force Boots to the 54 division. You get what I'm saying? Because to me, you're not going to put all this out in the public and then be like, we're going to make the final decision coming up on Monday. After you just told everybody he's underperforming the doctors, the test, and he's 50% of himself and all this other stuff. Like, I just don't understand that. But let me know and drop it below your 2 cents below in the comments. Like, do you feel like what Eddie Hearn is saying, you're confident that Boots will be going to 154 pounds? Because when I was first listening to the interview, I was like, oh, okay, cool. He moving up. And then he hit me with but we're going to meet to make the final decision. And I'm like, so why did you put all that information out there when you haven't even made the final decision yet? So first of all, Boots has already said, unless he said, don't listen to it. So I'm already on that. But I'm just trying to make a point about what Eddie Hearn just said in this interview. Because it seems like everybody just keeps trying to force Boots up to 154 pounds. And maybe he should go up to 154 pounds. And maybe the doctors is telling him to go up to 154 pounds. And maybe he is 50% of himself in the ring. But that's not for Eddie Hearn to be out here letting the public know, especially if he hasn't made the final decision to go to 154 pounds. Let me know and drop it below what y'all think.
Moving forward, I mean, I don't know if you would know better than me, obviously. If Boots is in a position to fight in the near future, there's been talk.
Yeah, August. I mean, they said to us, "Would you fight Virgil Ortiz in August?" And we said yes.
But I'm gonna talk about this thing he about to say about Virgil Ortiz in another video. But Eddie Hearn continuously, in my opinion, he continues to, I don't know, it's like people agree with Eddie Hearn. They're like, oh, he real, he this and that. But it's like, Eddie Hearn, this is your fighter. You haven't even verified if he's going to 154 pounds. It would be different if he said, yeah, Boots is going to 154 pounds because the doctors were saying he's 50% of himself, but not he's going to 154 pounds because of this and this, and we're going to sit with him and make the final decision on Monday or whatever day you said. He hasn't made the final decision yet. So if he decides to stay at 147 pounds, he would possibly turn him into a target for people to try to sit out and wait even longer or demand more money for fights. So in essence, Eddie Hearn, you're making it harder for him to get fights at 147 pounds because now people are going to know what he's dealing with, the urgency he has on trying to get these fights, and they're going to be demanding this and that because they know what kind of predicament and position that he's in. But maybe I'm tripping. But let me know what you think about Eddie Hearn telling all of Jaron Boots Ennis' business when they haven't even made a final decision. Or do y'all think that this means he's going to be going up to 154 pounds? By dropping your 2 cents below in the comments, follow me on IG at 2 Cents Boxing. Follow me on X at 2 Cents 20. I'm Jay, and stay tuned for my 2 cents in the next video. And be sure to click on this video popping up. I guarantee you're going to like it.